Hi, welcome to Outsmart Your Guitar. I'm glad you could stop by and check out what we're doing. Today, we're in lead guitar concepts and we're going to deal with easy approaches to helping you play lead guitar. We're going to give you a few really cool things to help you think in a little bit more three-dimensional way in your approach to playing lead guitar. All right? So, let's get to it. But wait, press that red button down there in the corner and you'll be subscribed to Outsmart Your Guitar. Ring the notification bell and you will be informed when new lessons are posted, which is usually around once a week or so. For an expanded version of this lesson, go on over to patreon.com, Outsmart Your Guitar, and subscribe at one of two levels, and you will be helping continue my efforts to provide you with high quality lesson material to help you learn, play, and grow to be the guitar player you desire to be, to play the music you love. Down in the description section, you'll see a little link to my Pay Me account where you can go and leave a tip to help keep me in coffee. All right, so let's get to the lesson. In this lesson, we're going to look at some easy approaches to soloing so that you can get outside your comfort zone by looking at things with a little bit different perspective. When you consider different perspectives, you're bringing new knowledge and information in to your ability, and then you put it into play and suddenly your soloing starts to sound much better. So this is the basis of this lesson. But the first thing you need to do, and this is not just in this lesson, but just in general, is look at the progression that you're going to be soloing over. Now, the reason is you need to know what the chords are first, and that will help you understand the key, right? Then you need to know the order of the chords. This gives you the information you need to understand about the harmonic motion of the progression. Where's it going? This then allows you to respond to what's going on in the progression to help build a better solo, because it's responding to the harmonic information being provided by the chords and the progression. All right, so first let's look at the progression. Then we'll move into the soloing ideas that you can put into play over the top of that. Here's the progression that you'll be playing over in this lesson. It's pretty straightforward. So you have an A minor. These are all bar chords here. C, D, and G. Now, if you want a more pop-oriented sound, you can play the open position chords, and that'll work just fine. Okay, so it's up to you. I tend to go with bar chords, a little bit more control over the sound going on. So the progression itself is mostly downstrokes. So except for that second half of the second beat, we have 2/16. So here's the strum. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Very easy, straightforward. And when it's at tempo, now, by at tempo, what I mean is, for you, if you are not quite up to snuff in your skills on lead guitar, you're a little slower, that's okay. This isn't about speed. This is about quality of execution and learning to apply concepts and ideas. Speed is irrelevant. In fact, speed can actually get in the way sometimes. So just learn this. So pause the video, learn this progression, and put it to a metronome and find out what tempo works for you. Based on your soloing skills, that will dictate what tempo you put it into your looper at. Okay, so make sure you can play this smooth and flowing along with the metronome. All right, then when you're ready, go ahead and press play and we'll move forward. All right, what you have on the screen is the pentatonic minor scale in A, the 5th fret, right? We all know this one. Right? Okay, so what I want you to do is, if you haven't done it yet, record the progression in the looper at a tempo where you're comfortable with your soloing. Again, quality of execution, not speed, is the thing here. So if you want to record it just a little bit slower than normal, go ahead and do that. You'll benefit from that. The object being now play up and back through the scale, pure scale up and down, over the progression, and listen. Use your ears. Listen to how it changes its sound, how it responds to the chord changes. All right? So let me demonstrate. 3, 4, and just, oh, by the way, 2 notes per beat. 3, 4. So you could hear, as the progression moved, the changing sound of the scale. And in some respects, just playing up and back, it almost sort of had a musical, melodic quality to it as well. And that's something very important to remember. Sometimes simple actually sounds great. And running the actual scale for a little bit of your solo, even just a brief half-second bit, can actually be exactly what you want, right? You don't have to be clever all the time. Sometimes cleverness ruins a solo. The object here is to play this up and back. So pause the video and do just what I did here and really pay attention to how the sound, the character, and the sonic qualities of the scale change as the chords change. Then, when you're ready to continue, press play. Here's a fun thing you're going to do. I want you to play a 2-measure lick using licks that you know cold, right? And then play it again, so that over the A minor and the C, you're going to play the lick, and then over the D minor and the G, you're going to play the lick again. And you're going to hear that it's going to sound a little different the second time from the first time, because the harmonic information that you're playing over has changed because the chords are changing, right? Let me demonstrate what I'm talking about here with a few examples. 3, 4. So you see, the object there is purely one of taking licks you know and working them and hearing how they sound over the progression. So pause the video and do this for a little while. Pull out licks and see what works. You're going to find in some instances it doesn't work because the harmonic relationship clashes, and that's okay. It just means maybe not here, maybe in the other parts. That's the idea. You've got a 4-chord progression, so maybe over the A minor and C it doesn't work, but over the D minor and G it might work, and that's what you want to discover. When do things work and when don't they? This is why you need to know the progression. So take your time here and do this for about 10 minutes or so. Have fun with it. Then when you're ready to continue, press play and we'll keep going. Let's add a note to the pentatonic minor scale. This is the flat 5 tone, and what you see here now is commonly called the blues scale. It's a 6-tone scale, right? So play over the top of it to your looper, and this is what you're going to get. So you see, it changes a little bit again as the chords change, as the harmonic information changes underneath it, you begin to hear differences. So take a couple of minutes and run this up and back, just like I did, over the progression, and listen carefully to what's going on. All right? Then when you're ready to continue, press play. All right, let's put that blue note to work. Again, take the licks you know and either modify them to include that note or add it in as part of a run or something. So make sure you just learn to use it. Let me show you a couple of examples. 2, 3, 4. All right, at the end there, I just started to kind of riff a little bit. But the idea, the object here is to create 2-measure licks and hear how it sounds over the A minor and the C, and then again, how it sounds over the D minor and the G. The other thing you can do is, as we did previously, play the first and the third measure, a specific lick, using the blue note, and then the second and fourth measure being whatever you feel like playing. That way you're getting a sense of how things work that are repeatable, and you break up that repeatability or that repeatable element so it doesn't sound forced, right? It gets a kind of a thematic idea moving forward. Anyway, pause the video and just experiment with this, and really, again, using the licks you know, give yourself a little bit more understanding of how when you have a changing harmonic undercurrent, i.e. the chord progression, how licks you're playing, in this case that include the blue note, sound over that changing harmonic undercurrent. All right? So have fun with it. Then when you're ready to continue, press play. Let's bring another scale into the mix here over the progression. This is the Aeolian scale, or more commonly called the pure minor scale. Now you'll see the red dots are two new notes that are added in to what you can already see of the pentatonic minor scale. So we're adding, in addition to the pentatonic minor notes, two more notes. We're adding a B right here and an F. So the B is a 2 and the F is a sharp 5. There's the B, there's the F, and another B. Now, because if I just play this 2 beats, 2 notes per beat, I'll always end up starting the progression here. I'm going to, every time I come here, wait 1 beat. All right? And then keep going. That way it'll keep moving and changing the starting point of the progression after that. All right? So here's an example of what I'm talking about. So you could hear the changes that were created by hanging on that for 1 beat, and how now the starting place of the progression always changed, or excuse me, of the scale always changed in its relationship to the progression. All right? So take a few minutes and go over this. Pause the video and run this up and back. Pause somewhere, anywhere, really. I just chose this. You can pause anywhere for a second and then move on. It doesn't matter. And this way you'll hear that it evolves and changes sonically as the undercurrent of the progression changes sonically. And so the relationship is altered as a result. And that's what you want to pay attention to, okay? Then, when you're ready to continue, press play and we'll move forward. All right, now it's time to put the Aeolian mode into play. Now, I'm not going to have you necessarily play licks you know, but that is a good starting point. And then add in those extra notes, the B and the F, right? And if you just want to stay in the first position because this is all new to you, absolutely. So let's play first position and maybe just a tiny bit of the second position. Here, 3, 4. So along those lines. Then, if you actually kind of know the scale, and particularly if you know the pentatonic minor scale, what you want to do is find your B's and your F's, right? Whoops. Find out where they are and really get to know them, right? that way you can play the pentatonic minor scale anywhere and then find the notes. For example, let's say the fourth position pentatonic minor, right? Okay, now you're in A, and so you have this. Well, we know that's a B. Oh, and here's an F because there's an F octave, so you can use the octave relation. And then, oh, I have a B here because that's the 12th, 12th fret octave of the B, open B. And, oh, because this is E, that's F. So you can just play that way. Play the pentatonic minor, then find the B's and the F's. And that will help you expand what you're doing with the pentatonic minor by adding those two notes, all right? So pause the video and take some time here and really explore the pentatonic minor in A and add the B's and the F's to what you're doing and have a little fun with it. Enjoy it, play over the progression, and pay attention to how it sounds, all right? Because sometimes it's not going to sound quite right, but then wait and do the lick again in another spot, and it'll probably sound great, all right? Okay, when you're ready to continue, press play. Okay, now that you've gone over these three approaches, the pentatonic minor, the blues scale, and the Aeolian mode or pure minor scale, here's where it gets fun. Because you know three scales that will work over this progression, you can now move between them and enjoy the benefits that each of them offers. So I'm just going to play something and show you exactly what I'm talking about in blending these three scales together. Using the pentatonic minor as the framework, I will introduce the blue note, that flat 5 tone, and I will also introduce the 2 and the sharp 5 tone from the Aeolian mode when and where I think they belong, right? And that's what helps make soloing so much fun. And just so you understand, this is what the guys you listen to on record are doing in a lot of instances. They're begging, borrowing, and stealing notes from other scales to make them work over the progression that they're soloing on, right? So let me show you what I'm talking about. 2, 3, 4. That's freedom. And that's what I want you to understand about why this is so important. A lot of what I played is stuff I've played before. So there are licks and ideas that I have used before. I'm not just making it up on the fly and creating whole new licks every step of the way. I'm using material and information I already know. These help me not have to think every second of the solo about where I'm going to go, what I'm going to do next. I let it flow, and I use licks I already know, my memorized lick library, as part of the structure of the solo that I'm creating. Okay? So, this is where you have to pause and spend some time. Again, use the pentatonic minor as the framework, drop in the blue note, that flat 5 tone, or drop in the 2 and the sharp 5 tones of the Aeolian mode where they fit in the structure of the pentatonic minor framework. That's the real secret here. You're using the pentatonic minor as the frame, and then when you want or need, you add notes from other scales. Okay? So do this, and then when you're ready to continue, press play. Okay, so there you go. In a nutshell, the reason I'm calling this easy soloing approach is because everything I'm showing you here is actually not hard to learn. When you use the pentatonic minor scale as your framework, basically you only really need to learn this one scale for the minor-based songs and know it really well in all 5 positions, hopefully in more than just one key, because that's where you get real freedom, is when you know it in all 12 keys. But the object here is learn this scale in all 5 positions. And then you want that flat 5 note, the blue note, which in A is a D sharp. You find all your D sharps. Where are they in each of the 5 positions? Now you know where it lives, so you can take advantage of it. And you can play the blues scale in all 5 positions of the scale, right? And then if you want to add the B tone, which is the 2, and the F tone, which is the sharp 5 from the Aeolian mode, you have the pentatonic minor there. Just find where the 2 tone is and where the sharp 5 tone is in relation to each position. Where is the B? Where is the F? This is in the key of A, right? So that's why it's better to think of it in terms of numbers, the 2 tone and the sharp 5 for the Aeolian mode components. You know the pentatonic minor in all 5 positions. Now find the 2 and the sharp 5 note locations in each of the 5 positions. Now you can take advantage of them and drop them in there whenever and wherever you want and figure out when and where they sound good so that you can know when and where to use them. This is the only part that is going to take the most time. Once you've learned the pentatonic minor scale, then finding the 2 and the sharp 5 or the flat 5, as in the case of the blues scale, now you can use all 3 scales, blending notes from all 3 of them as you see fit, using the pentatonic minor as your framework. This is what I did when I was first coming up. I knew the pentatonic minor scale. I started learning other notes and later found out, oh, this is part of this scale. Oh, this is part of that scale. And so then I started understanding those other scales and going, oh, okay, well, this is really pretty straightforward stuff. But I was using the pentatonic minor scale as the framework and then finding those extra notes. This is why I come to you and recommend you do it this fashion, because it's the easiest way to do it. And you're able to solo and have fun and then drop those notes in as you become more comfortable with them, right? And that's the other part of it, learning to become comfortable with it. So this is a time-based thing. It's going to take the time it takes. That's all there is to it, right? So for now, just do this. And don't worry about any of the other stuff. Now, another thing you can do is to create another progression that's minor based and figure it out. Play over with the pentatonic minor scale, right? And see what other notes will work in addition to the pentatonic minor notes in the given progression. Now, I recommend using a looper and not running and going to backing tracks. Backing tracks are great, but they're like exercise machines, you know. You don't really create solos over these things. It's more a bed for working out ideas and getting your fingers used to playing whatever scale you're working on. Working with a looper is a little bit more focused because you've just got the rhythm going. You don't have drums and bass and all this other stuff to distract you, which I find people using backing tracks, they tend to just kind of wander off and start jamming and improvising, which is good. But when you're trying to learn something, that's not good. So using just the looper, I find you're more focused because you're actually listening to the progression more clearly and more intently because there's clarity in the absence of all the other instruments. All right? Okay, so with that all in mind, again, take your time. Don't worry too much about it. Have fun with it. All right? And then, as I said, you want the expanded version of this lesson, go over to patreon.com, Outsmart Your Guitar, and sign up there at one of two levels and get the rest of this lesson. All right? Otherwise, I have other lessons. So you can take advantage of those too. And we'll see you there.